Sponsored by. Following his resounding victory in the Russian presidential elections, Vladimir Putin was sworn in for a new 5-year term in a lavish inauguration ceremony in the Kremlin, asserting that leading Russia remains his sacred duty. Prior to the announcement of the results, it was widely anticipated worldwide that Putin would emerge triumphant despite facing 3 other candidates, as these candidates were not his opponents per se, but individuals having similar viewpoints and opinions. Nevertheless, his re-election comes at a pivotal juncture as Russia remains embroiled in conflict with Ukraine, leading to a rift between Moscow and the West, with the US and EU siding with Ukraine. In fact, the inauguration ceremony was boycotted by Western nations in a unified display of condemnation against Russia's invasion of Ukraine. However, India, on the other hand, stands benefited from Putin's re-election despite the odds that witnessed long-standing and time-tested relations with Russia. Receiving a staggering 87.97% of the votes, Vladimir Putin defeated his opponents by a massive margin. If we look at his opponents, Nikolai Khartonov received 4.4% of the votes, Vladislav Davanskov received 3.8%, and Leonid Stulsky of the Liberal Democratic Party received a mere 3.02% of the votes. This trend of one-sided victories for Putin is not new, because ever since Putin first became president, he has consistently secured unilateral victories. Putin's repeated presidency can be attributed to 2 main factors. The first significant factor is the constitutional amendment brought by Putin in 2020, which extended his presidency until 2036. This means Putin could potentially continue as president until 2036 if he chooses to do so. Secondly, in Russia, no leader can challenge Putin. If someone dares, they are either eliminated or permanently imprisoned, allowing only those individuals to thrive who are favored by President Putin himself. Over the past 10 years, several of Putin's opponents have been accused of being eliminated, with the latest being Alexei Navalny. Some have allegedly been poisoned, while others have met with fatal accidents, leading Western countries to suspect foul play. India and Russia have been long-standing and time-tested friends, with relations reaching a new height since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. India, a strong ally of both Ukraine and Russia, is the only nation that did not criticize Moscow over its war in Ukraine but made sure to remind friend Putin that it was not an era of war. At the same time, New Delhi has even categorically conveyed to Moscow its ties with Ukraine and its unwavering support to the war-wrecked nation. While the entire world sanctioned Russia, India, on the other hand, stood shoulder to shoulder with its strongest ally, defending the relations from the West's evil eye. From continuing to buy Russian oil to continuing annual diplomatic visits, India never left Moscow alone on the world stage. Interestingly, the West, specifically the US, believes that it was only because of PM Narendra Modi's influence and friendship with Putin, due to which the looming threat of World War III has been prevented. More than 2 years into the war, Putin said he wanted to bow before Russia's soldiers, declaring that his landslide re-election in March was proof that the country was united and on the right track. Putin is extremely confident that apparently the war is turning in Russia's favor, hinting that the president would likely to continue his war with Ukraine, ending it only when Ukraine sits down at negotiating table. Soon after the war was initiated, tables turned drastically for Russia as the country was left isolated on the world stage, having only a few on its side. The West and EU were quick to condemn Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine, and subsequently the country was heavily sanctioned, although the sanctions failed to stop Putin from continuing his war in Ukraine or hampered the country's economy. There's no doubt that Putin is thinking to end the war against Ukraine anytime soon. However, he would surely face repercussions for the same, including facing sanctions. Nonetheless, Russia's break with the West and its turn towards China is likely to carry some consequences for India's foreign policy. However, despite the geopolitical challenges, it is believed that Russia's positive relationship with India would continue to remain intact, owing to both the leaders' steadfast commitment to the India-Russia partnership.